Welcome to People I Think Are Cool. I'm your host, Liz Reed, one part of the art duo Cuddles and Rage, and this is my podcast for any of you cool, interesting, creative people. Today on the show, we have Noodle and Bun creators, Lloyd and Gotti. Okay, Gotti did say his last name, and it has a rolling R, but I'm not going to attempt it. I don't want to butcher it. Oh, but I promised him I would. Okay, if I might cut in here the proper pronunciation. But Lloyd and Gotti are amazing guys. They are the coolest creative combo that I have met today. And I am a huge fan of Noodle and Bun. I first discovered the series on TikTok. It was one of the very first kind of non-dancey animation storytelling pieces that I saw on TikTok, and I found that to be really fascinating. Because getting on that platform early, it's totally a space for more than just people dancing. And it's obviously become more than that at this time. If you haven't checked out Noodle and Bun, do so right away. You don't have to be on TikTok. They have an Instagram and YouTube. I'll have it all in the show notes. But it is some of the most adorable storytelling, character work, design that I have ever seen. And I consider it all ages because it makes you feel really good after you're watching it. If you're having a bad day, then go watch Noodle and Bun. And they're quick fixes, which is perfect. No long time commitment, but if you want to binge, then it's all there. In talking to Lloyd and Gotti, I got to hear the history behind Noodle and Bun. And for my fellow creatives out there, talk about their collaboration together. They have some of the best advice on creative partnerships that I'm going to explore a bit more. I really don't think anybody's going to be able to top this advice. They have nailed it, and that's a huge part of their success. If you are listening to the podcast right now instead of watching it on our People I Think Are Cool YouTube, go to YouTube. You'll want to see at the end of this episode the merchandise that they created around Noodle and Bun and the story behind it. We get to see the ones that didn't make the final cut, what the final product looked like. As a creator, it's fascinating to hear how that process went for them. And by the time this releases, their merch store should be open. So I will have a link in the show notes so you can go Noodle and Bun crazy. Enjoy this awesome episode with Lloyd and Gotti of Noodle and Bun. So I found you guys on TikTok because you guys came up on my For Your page. But in researching you, I just automatically thought that you were always and only on TikTok with Noodle and Bun. But then I found out that you originally put Noodle and Bun on Instagram. So can you talk about that experience of testing out different platforms to get eyes on this wonderful series?
It wasn't as much testing different platforms. We only thought about Instagram at that time. We didn't really dig much deeper. Lloyd and I just really wanted to make something that was small and efficient and quick to create. And both of our brainchild thrown together. So we wanted to make something that the two of us could do almost alone.
Yeah, fast turnaround time. Yeah. So like rapid prototype, but with a little cute character.
Yeah, and then that's when we did the first episode, which we posted on Instagram.
To a massive fail.
Yeah, I think we had 110 views, and then that was it.
And then no one ever viewed it, no one shared it.
Yeah,
no one was interested.
That was our Instagram story.
And then that just sat for about 2 or 3 months. We didn't have the time, or we didn't really know what to do with it. After then, so we just kind of left it.
Yeah, you lose motivation when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then a few months later, Gotti had some spare time again, and he was sitting there going like, no, we're going to do something else with it. And he found this funny video, and he was like, no, we're going to do a parody of this. It's going to work.
Yeah, this was on TikTok. So we only recently, at that time, almost a year ago now, we started looking at TikTok and seeing that it's a much more rapid platform, and things get shared more wildly and better on that platform. So then we thought, maybe we could give it a go. And then we parodied or we duetted a video or parodied a video. And then it just started blowing up. And then that was the start.
Were you prepared to crank out videos? Because I think that happens to a lot of people on TikTok, where you have something that goes viral, because that can happen so easily on TikTok. It's almost like how they get you hooked. But then you got to feed the beast to keep the audience there. So how did you manage that?
Yeah, no, the way you phrased it is perfectly correct.
Exactly what happened.
It's you have to be prepared to crank out similar jokes, and you have to keep consistent. Every time it has to be good or funny. Luckily, we have enough things in our head that this was exciting for us to keep posting more videos, but we didn't plan to do a video every day, and the demand was very high. So we had to kind of shift our focus to only Noodle and Bun for a bit. To get our audience growing, you have to go with the momentum.
Yeah. So there was a couple of late weeks following that when we were like, no, we've got to keep posting, got to keep the momentum up. People are viewing the platform, they're subscribing, they want more. So yeah, we definitely weren't prepared. And then just every day put in an extra 4 or 5 hours on top of whatever your work is for about 2 months almost of just trying to churn it out. Yeah.
But we were lucky because we have our studio, so we make use of artists that are available quite often when we're too swamped, and we also have a render farm, so we're able to produce these videos in a very short amount of time. If we didn't have that, it would be a massive struggle.
Yeah.
So how many were you producing in that first rush? Was it every day?
Yeah, it was every day or every 2 days.
Yeah, every day or every 2 days, almost for a month.
Yeah, for a month. And then when we got over the hype and just started looking at it more realistically, we started doing 2 a week and then 1 a week. And
Also, we had other projects ramp up at the same time.
Yeah.
And TikTok doesn't generate any ad rev.
Yeah, there's no money in TikTok. Like physical, you don't get money for posting a video. You get money if you sell your merchandise or if you do a deal with somebody, but that's very hard to come by.
Yeah.
Right, and that's so true. Because if people think that they're going to make money off going live, people are just throwing not even pennies at you. So you're not going to get rich that way.
And it gets cut in half. So you get, you get your gifts, and then when you sell them, the value halves. And going live with Noodle was exciting. We wanted to do that.
We're still going to try and figure some way out to do it.
We'll do it eventually. We just never got the time and the resources to do it because it costs money.
Yeah, it's a different setup to what we do now. It's a different set of technology, and you have to take the model and port it, into those kind of face capture things. And then, the question arises, would Noodle say something, or do we have like the owner speak to the people and say, ask Noodle a question, he holds up a little sign. It's
complicated.
Yeah, and the fact that you don't have a language, it's all kind of like reactions and grunts, is what makes it kind of universally appealing to everybody in the world. So to take that away, it's almost like, would you feel like you would lose part of your audience?
Yeah, anytime we post a caption in a different language, or there's like a sign or like text in the video, everyone's like, what does it say? What does it say? Because you can translate the Japanese or Vietnamese or, Spanish text everywhere. And then people are like, I don't know what this says. Does someone know what it says?
And kids get angry. They start posting. They shout, Noodle Hispana, Noodle Hispana. Like they want to know what has been said or what has happened. So we really try to avoid any language-related content. Even though the US is our biggest demographic, but not by much, only 20%. And then, and that's where we get most of our money from on YouTube as well. The ads is from American viewers. So we would benefit from going all English, but we just can't do it to the Mexican kids and the Russian kids and everybody who's enjoying it. Would rather stay universal.
Yeah. And India pulls in a lot of views on YouTube too. I don't think people realize that, I guess talking to YouTube specifically, that it's not always like the US that pulls in the most eyeballs. In fact, it's honestly like down the ladder some. So let's talk about the physics of making these guys, because I think like part of the fun is the fact that they're all like jiggly and wiggly. And was that always part of the plan? Because I am so not familiar with how to make fun CG characters.
It was always part of the plan. We had to do something that was procedural in a way in order to smooth over animation, because that's what's going to take the most time when you're doing a character or a little story. It's sitting there animating and making the character move properly. So we had to find a way to take rough animation, do something to it, and then get, squash and stretch and settle and all those principles that make it look beautiful. So there was always going to be some element of something that we were going to put in there in order to achieve that.
Yeah, our initial plan was to have almost it be fully simulated, and Noodle gets moved around like a toy, like a plush. But then we realized we can actually give him a little bit of life with very basic animation, and then let the simulation finish it off and make it look wobbly.
Yeah.
So I was
just going to say that, if people step back and they think that that's the only thing that makes it, that's not. Part of the sound effects and the music, it's everything together. So did you have a team of people to help you bring together the sound effects, or was that still all you 5 hours after your workday?
It's just Lloyd and I. Basically, we enjoy the whole process so much that this was the whole point of the project was, how can we create something that's just us? And then I am at the computer running the recording, and Lloyd's at the mic making all kinds of different sounds. Noodle's water bag sounds was just water in his mouth. So a lot of things that you hear is just Lloyd in the recording booth doing crazy things.
We don't really have a recording booth. It's basically just a mic on a tripod.
It's just a mic.
Yeah, and anything we need.
Great.
We just bring in and bash together, or throw nuts and bolts at the wall and just do whatever.
Wait, so you're doing like old school Foley work?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That is impressive.
But you have to, because the moment you'll be amazed at how good people's libraries are in their head of sound effects. If you hear something that you've heard before in your life on a Cartoon Network or something, you just won't be as intrigued by what you see. So everything we create is fresh and new. And if there's a sound that we don't like, do a sound that is unconventional.
Yeah. Use it to tell a story.
Yeah.
If Noodle opens a door, why not make it why make it a weird sound? Because people go, what's wrong with your door?
Yeah. They need to be confused after time.
Yeah. That was the point of making him sound like a water bottle, and the tennis ball sounds like a wet sponge, and
Yeah, just be different as much as possible.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And my background's in television, and so I know exactly what you're saying. There was this one song called She Said Yes, and I would hear it on HBO and all these other places all the time, be like, She Said Yes.
It removes a little bit of the magic when you hear a sound effect, because then you feel like it's more produced. It's not so special.
So with PolyCat, I was trying to figure out how that works out with you doing your own independent thing, because I know a lot of places, especially people, I'll use the gaming industry for example, or even television. If you have your own outside project, then the company that you work for can sometimes own it. So a lot of creatives have to be very careful of their outside endeavors. So what was your relationship with PolyCat in order to make all this work?
So we're both 50-50 owners of PolyCat. So
there you go. Now everybody else who works for you, they can't create their own thing.
Not during work hours. Basically, that helped us a lot. We're using our own studio. We've played with the idea before, because we have to decide: do we want Noodle and Bun to say by Gotti and Lloyd, or do we want it to say by PolyCat? As a business, we want the company to be making Noodle and Bun. And when we have Netflix come in maybe and want to do a series with us, it would be PolyCat making it. But we would be credited as the creators.
Story by, created by. So the industry is changing a bit, where if you can get hold of an internal project that whenever you've got downtime you can work on and produce, you're in a much stronger position than being at the mercy of just client jobs and things like that. So it's all part of trying to make PolyCat much more dynamic in terms of it's survivability.
Yeah, give us some independence, because we've never had our own IP to an extent where we can pick and choose who we want to work with, and it's a nice change. But Noodle and Bun is still at its infancy. It's getting a lot of interest, which is good.
Yeah.
But we're still hoping to do something very cool with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think from a branding standpoint, having it as your names versus a company makes it feel a bit more DIY on something like TikTok, even though it's absolutely, it is, but it isn't. You guys walk a nice line.
Yeah, no, having a DIY is why things go viral on TikTok. Like, as soon as somebody used the camera and not their phone, and the lensing is too good, and there's nice depth of field, and it seems lit, and it seems recorded really well, people just swipe past. They don't. It's not authentic enough.
Feel a bit pandered to, or it feels a bit overproduced.
Yeah, it feels like a production. Yeah, and then that's the difficult part of TikTok, is you can't do too much, otherwise they don't believe that it's just two people making it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in your Cartoon Brew interview, you said that TikTok approached you. And I was like, that's so vague. What does it mean when TikTok approached you?
TikTok is vague.
TikTok is very vague. We had a local representative approach us to try and work with us in some way, but ultimately all that the reps can really do is tell you what hashtag is trending on that week and give
you some inside information as to, is a video region locked and things like that. TikTok's very difficult to figure out how anything works on that platform. Like, there's no application process for being verified at all. Like, when they contact you, that's when you get verified. So if you know someone that's verified, they can talk to their rep about getting you verified. But otherwise, there's no like with YouTube, you can apply to be partner or monetized and things like that. On TikTok, it's like, they'll call you, don't talk to them, kind of thing.
Which is understandable, because the platform is so absolutely massive that you can't have a million emails of people wanting to get verified every day.
Yeah. So, that makes sense. And sorry if you can hear my cat screaming. I have a cat and a dog, so of course, like Noodle and Bun. It's next to me, but okay. I'm glad you can't hear the screaming cat.
And mine animal noises.
I know, right? You can use her sometime. Oh, is that annoying? Do you guys have friends who are like, yeah, you can totally use me for VO or whatever you need?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we have that. But it's like Lloyd can do all the voices and more. So I feel like your chances of being on is very low, because we have the owner making the voices himself, and it's a lot of fun. So
it is a lot of fun. Eventually I'll run out of sounds. I think eventually I won't know what next sound to make for an animal, but for now I've still got a few in my back pocket.
It's not like random commenter, yes, I choose you, come help us out.
We don't mind collaborating with people. We're quite keen on that, and then if it's their own character, they can voice it.
There's no reason why I wouldn't have a guest character or anything like that, and in their own weird sound.
When you reach a certain size, though, you kind of have copycats other places, and you kind of have to protect your IP a bit. Have you encountered that?
Oh my gosh.
Mostly for reposting, but a lot of reposting. So like YouTube, we've got 10 times the amount of views on other people's videos that they've posted than our own one.
Our biggest video has got over 21 million views on YouTube, and it's not ours. It's somebody else posted it, which is brutal, because that really would have helped us fund a lot more episodes.
And it dilutes, who gets subscribed to that,
he's got more subscribers than us, just because of the one video.
So in terms of physical copycats, like someone else designing a character.
Not in that way, no.
Not yet.
Yeah, but both, both apply, because I do feel like, somebody who's even home video that goes viral and then gets put on a compilation, like they deserve to be compensated, but there isn't really a way to get. With PolyCat and you taking on clients, do you feel like that's a totally different standalone brand? And to add more background to this question, you're talking about how advertisers that's a way to make money. And I feel like you see that a lot on TikTok. It's like your favorite TikToker is all of a sudden like promoting Mountain Dew. And you're like, I don't really think you love Mountain Dew that much.
It's funny.
But in talking about that, you want, like, if you were to work with somebody, you made it clear that you would want it to be like family friendly. And I agree with that 100%. With PolyCat, your business, though, would you apply those same values, or is that completely different?
PolyCat is the place that can manufacture Noodle and Bun. And the Noodle and Bun will always stay family friendly. Even if anyone wants to change that, we would obviously say no. But we will create other content for people. It can be game trailers, it can be gory or violent. It's totally unrelated. Our business will do anything.
But also further on that with the client and other things, it's like Noodle and Bun did end up having quite a young audience as well. And, to stay true to that, we're not really going to we're going to sort of apply the same methodology you would to a My Little Pony as well, and not have gore and
yeah, we really wanted to make Noodle and Bun literally whatever we think of, whether it be a bit more mature or not. But yeah, like as Lloyd mentioned, it was out of our control. Kids between the ages of 3 and 6 just absolutely love it. And now we can't damage that brand that we've built.
Yeah, and we also it's a good space to be in at the moment, because there's a lot of funny stuff in Noodle that's not 3-year-old humor, but they enjoy watching it. So I feel like we've got a very broad appeal at the moment. So we're going to try and keep it as PC as possible, but then still make it interesting. It's a weird gray space to be in.
No, I agree. I know with our Cuddles and Rage brand, we kind of fall into the same space, but being all ages, and being on YouTube, that allows you to not have to deal with is it COPPA? Those kid laws where you can't have advertising and monetize it?
Without our YouTube ad revenue, we would not be where we are now, because we don't make that much on YouTube, but we make enough to have a small team help us create these longer videos, because we have to make long form content. That's the only way we can get a Netflix or a series deal, is if we can prove that we can do longer form content. So right now we have longer episodes coming out in between the TikTok videos.
Yeah, and I saw that there's more space between your releases too. So now that you have built up library, do you feel like it's safe to not push yourself to put something out every week or so?
So we are gonna move back to posting every week, even if it's just a 10-second video on TikTok, because people lose momentum and people lose interest if you don't post enough. And we are launching our merchandise now, first week of June. So we need our fans to be around, So we're gonna go back to having a 10-second video every week, and then these 2-minute long ones every second week or something.
Yeah, Noodle's just been a story of resource management, really.
Yeah.
As we make it prettier and bigger and longer, then this other department falls down. And as we make the small little ones and the long form stuff slows down. So we need to find a balance between making funny, cute, outrageous clips on TikTok to keep the user base flowing and fresh eyes on it, and then still continuing to build out our long form stuff.
It's just a money thing. We really hope that the merchandise puts us in a space where we can grow our team a little bit, so that we can keep up with the demand of episode every week.
How did you move into merchandising?
We were very interested in it from the beginning. We made Noodle to be like a plushie so that we could sell him one day. So the whole point was to make him appear to be a plushie, so we knew that we were going to create our own toys. But we started with a Chinese factory, and we tried to make it ourselves, as in liaise with them directly. And what we got back was a very scary looking noodle.
Mutant noodle, yeah.
It didn't look the same at all. Yeah, I mean, we gave it to a kid, and the kid was very happy about it. But
she was only 3.
Yeah, she was only 3. She did.
What does she know?
Yeah, she loves this weird noodle that she got, which I don't mind. So then later a company approached us who does this a bit more professionally. They work with influencers.
Yeah, for other content creators. And they were like, we'll take on Noodle as a portfolio and do a whole range, not just the plushies.
Noodle, bean, bun, shirts, hoodies, caps, keychains, all of the works, things. Just and they will finance it, and then we get a part of the sale.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I feel like since you guys already are business savvy, then you're able to deal with all the legal contracts behind that, because I feel like a lot of people who, just rise to fame, they don't realize the whole ownership conversation.
Yeah, that's a big one. IP.
Even with all our experience, there's still a lot of new things we're dealing with as well. We've got Katie, our producer. She's also,
she
like
comes through it.
Yeah. She's kept Noodle safe multiple times as well. So.
And every time somebody wants to do a deal with you, we know Noodle is at the beginning of its life. We know it's going to be bigger than what it is now.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, we hope so. But people always want to start off by saying, I want 20% if we're going to go into a partnership or something. And it's like, that's actually massive. That's a very massive part of the IP. if you can imagine that it's gonna keep growing. So yeah, we've kind of stayed our hands off. We don't want to do any deals with anyone yet to that extent, because we believe it can grow organically. We don't need anyone else yet.
Yeah, no, that's so smart. For the growth, you talked about having to do like longer stories. And I always find that fascinating, as writers who are able to tell like, I'm going to compare it to comics because that's what I know best, like 1-panel comics versus like a 3-panel comic, and then a short story, and then a full graphic novel. Have you guys struggled, or how have you even approached, expanding the concept into something that's longer than a minute?
Lloyd and I have always loved telling stories. We studied animation, and we, worked at an animation studio before we started PolyCat. So we've always been story people, but it is difficult. So what we did with season 2 is we did an overall rough idea of everything we want happening, like which animals they meet, what's going to happen in the final 2 episodes. We do the broad strokes, and then we go, okay, we have a 2-minute episode. What can they do in 2 minutes that tells a small story that has like a message maybe or not?
With something weird that happens. So, but it has been more challenging. It's also like to make a funny TikTok of something that already is funny, but you put Noodle on, it's very easy because it's super funny because now the cat's doing the funny thing. And so the 2-minute to 3-minute thing is, I think we're learning a lot as well.
It's original content. Like we will eventually approach a writer, somebody who will help us develop these longer stories, because 2 minutes is even doable. We're talking more for 5 to 10 to 20-minute episodes. That will be a bit much for Lloyd and I. It'll be too much of a full-time job that we'd rather want to be creating it, not writing it.
Or work alongside someone
of course,
for a good few seasons that can teach us what we need to know.
I love that, because a lot of people don't recognize when to seek outside help. They just kind of want to hold it all together. So that is so smart. And I love the... Oh, no, go ahead, please. Oh,
no, I just that.
I love the black duck. I just saw him like before we hopped on. I was like, oh, and then the music, like you guys nailed the music completely. It's just like it gives you all the emotions. But the one thing that I noticed in those videos is that you're actually 90 degrees different on TikTok. And I think that's something that like a lot of people who have multiple platforms, like especially YouTube and TikTok, they suffer from the what format do I need to keep it in? So was that a conscious change just to make it easier for you to, be able to translate it to YouTube?
It was a massive struggle because we want to do HD for YouTube. We usually filmed TikTok format, and then we would just expand it. So we'd almost record a massive square, and then we can crop both ways. But resource-wise, that's double the amount of resources to create an episode. So we decided to favor our longer format stuff and just upload it sideways to TikTok. Because we didn't want to crop in very close and have half the detail missing.
But it is a massive nightmare.
It is a nightmare, but we will, for our short TikTok videos, we are filming in TikTok straight format, because it favors people, and it favors people standing up straight and dancing. So it's a human format.
The biggest issue is you create the story or the idea with framing in mind, right? So the long form stuff, just you have to tilt your phone. Otherwise, you cut off so much stuff. The story almost doesn't make sense anymore.
And it's going to be on TV. No one wants to watch long form stuff up straight. You want to put it on the TV or do something.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting what YouTube's doing with their shorts program to try and like compete with TikTok.
Frustrating. We don't even have access to that. We already have a copycat account on there, a Noodle and Bun, somebody who made a shorts account, uploading all of our videos, and we can't do anything about it.
You can't reach out to YouTube, like they don't protect you.
No, you do, but you just don't. You don't get a reply. You report and then nothing.
So we're under 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, which means we're not verified yet. Which means you don't have really any major recourse for copyright claim. And shorts is only released in the US.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So basically, somebody could just beat us to it. Oh wait, that's
I mean, it really needs to be about the creator.
Sure. Yeah.
But, I mean, what's YouTube supposed to do? They've got hundreds and thousands of creators, and if you're not registered yet, it's more difficult for them to actually fully be able to process stuff like that.
We just want to get verified, because then it's all fine,
Yeah.
Then you can say, hey, that's a copycat account, please remove it. And then.
But we had experience now with Instagram releasing Reels. And that was kind of like shorts, and that Instagram, I don't think nailed that correctly either. That was also a massive nightmare, because when you go to our page on Instagram, it didn't show the Reels. Now it does. And now our longer form stuff isn't on Reels, it's on IGTV, which is a whole other tab.
Yeah.
So
because Instagram TV is minimum 1 minute and higher. So we have to upload our 2-minute videos on Instagram TV, our below 1 minute stuff on Instagram Reels, and it's just a mess, really.
And GIFs and images on normal TikTok. So some people on Instagram think we haven't posted in months.
But it's on the other tab.
Yeah, no, it's all a hot mess. I agree. So let's wind down and talk about your relationship. Are you ready?
Okay.
How did you guys meet?
We actually met in college, but we weren't friends in college. We were acquaintances, but we weren't friends yet.
Yeah. There's a morning and an afternoon class.
Yeah.
So we had the opposite classes all the way into our final year, and your final year is basically you get together with a team and you hide away in a hole and you make a film for a year.
Yeah.
So
you put your head down and you work hard, and you don't really interact with the other groups.
Yeah.
So then we finished our end-year projects. It was great, very happy. And then we actually got interviewed at the same company. And then we got hired at the same company. And we were the only 2 or 3 interns there. So we obviously stuck together and formed a strong friendship. And that's when we started talking, hey, maybe we should try and make our own ad for a client. And then eventually we started doing our own work. And then once we had enough clients, we left there and started PolyCat.
Yeah. So that was like 2 to 3 years at the company, and then we've been 7 years at PolyCat.
Wow, congrats.
Yeah, 10 years.
How did you decide that you worked well together? Because sometimes forming a partnership with somebody who's your friend at first doesn't always work out.
Oh yeah, I mean it's always a big risk to go into a partnership with anybody, and even with friends, there's more on the line, because you could ruin a friendship. But we just work so well together, and it never really went bad. So we realized that this partnership is a great one, and
just from strength to strength, because we're in neighboring departments in the production line of animation. He does rendering and I do VFX, so we're quite next to each other. So during those 2 years, we pretty much worked late night side by side non-stop. So we got to know each other very quickly from that.
Yeah, and we just the way we deal with conflict is very efficient, and we don't shout, we don't scream at each other. Like I think we've maybe had one argument in the whole 7 years.
Yeah.
And that argument didn't last very long. It wasn't not so bad afterwards.
Yeah, it wasn't about business.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. And I love that you both remembered the one argument.
Yeah. No, we're lucky.
Yeah. Well, then how do you balance the pitching process for new shorts?
May the best man win. But it's kind of like we're so busy right now. If someone's got a great idea, it generally just goes through.
Thank goodness, someone has an idea.
Yeah, and eventually, as we get more resources on something, there'll be projects or IPs that are more Gotti or more me as we go down the line. But that's far in the future still.
And we work really well because I'm very story driven, and Lloyd is very good with coming up with the comedy aspect of it. And Noodle and Bun is a comedy show, so we have a very good dynamic where I'm not that interested in necessarily figuring out what's going to make everybody laugh, and then he will do that. So in the end, it's always 50-50, both of our stories in a way.
Yeah.
I love that. So what advice would you give for creative partnerships?
I feel very lucky what we've achieved and what we have together. So it's difficult to say, well, make sure he brushes his teeth. I mean, that is obviously a good one. But it's to say one thing, I would say the more you know someone, the better, and don't know them in the good times, know them in the bad times. as well, because you're going to see what someone's made of when things are going south.
Yeah.
So if you can see it as a bad thing to go through some rough patches, but if you do, you're really going to know a lot more about someone.
And then what I would suggest is support. Whether two creators will always knock heads at some point, or have one will have an idea, or both will have an idea. But when you settle on one, don't be resentful, or don't be upset that you're going with the idea that you didn't want. Support the other person fully. It's almost like relationship advice in a way. If you made a decision, just stick with it and support and go all out on it, because both people need to be 100% on board with either of the idea. You just have to pick one and go for it. Yeah.
It's like relationship advice, because creatives are so temperamental.
Yeah.
And they have a little hissy fit. So like when you've decided to do something, like finish it. Like we've decided this, let's do it. Like let's see if it works, you know. So
that is extremely solid advice. That's great.
It's difficult, you know, it's just compatibility, to be honest. If you're not compatible with someone, you're gonna have problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's okay to say goodbye to that relationship versus to push through it.
Of course.
Yeah.
So final question, what's coming up for you guys that you can share?
No, only more noodle stuff. I think our film production is still a while away.
Yeah, so we're busy doing a film with under the PolyCat brand, and this film will be finished middle next year, or early quarter 2 next year. So it's well underway. Noodle and Bun will continue to post 2-minute episodes on YouTube, or 2 to 3 minutes, and then TikTok videos every week. And we're launching our merchandise soon, which is very exciting for us, because we want to see, we want proof of our concept. You know, if people are buying our stuff, that's validation, and then we can go to someone with that, because we really want a series deal with somebody, so we can just rely on something other than a YouTube ad revenue.
Yeah, and I love how in the comments, like especially with younger kids, they're like, "Oh, why aren't you working with Netflix?" They're like, "Oh, we wish it was that easy." Go talk to them.
Netflix have TikTok? Like, do they not see us? Like,
yeah, come on.
Read the comments.
So since you mentioned merchandise, like where will people be able to find that?
We'll have an online store.
It'll be linked to our TikTok and our YouTube as well, right there.
It'll be noodleandbun.com will be the domain, and it'll be on there. Should I go? Must I go bring it?
Yeah, go bring. We're gonna fetch a few things, and you can have a look at, like, bring Chinese plushie as well.
We'll show you
We'll show you the plushie, and then the finished one. Yeah. We also had someone who really loves noodle in the company. She built a giant one, like a really, really big one, which is like probably the most accurate one we had, and no one was able to replicate it. And she's never made plushies before, so that one looked great.
So she sewed it.
Yeah, by hand, we cut the patterns, did everything. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, she's one of our asset creators.
Wow.
So yeah, that was an interesting thing. And when we gave everyone else the pattern, no one could make it again.
That's a bummer. That's weird. Oh my gosh. Is that the massive one?
Yes.
Oh, that is perfect.
So this one was, did you already
the story, yes. This one.
And it's cool because he moves like Noodle, and it was very well done.
Yeah, he totally moves.
Yeah.
And then we had Chinese
special. Sad.
He's cute in his own way, but he's like, no, it doesn't look like Noodle.
No, that looks like knockoff brand.
many revisions, and he's got like a hard eye.
Eat themselves. Then this is the one. Yeah, you can.
So this is closer. It's closer. It's not totally there, but it's the best we could get. And he's got adjustable limbs.
That's huge. That's great. So you're gonna get some stop motion out of that from people. That's cool.
Exactly what I thought is people can be creative and do stop motion with it.
And then we have the little dog as well. We got. I think he came out really well.
Yeah, Bean came out really well.
Yeah.
Tail. So, and then the mouse is somewhere, but we'll find him one day.
Yeah, so it's very exciting for us because it's one thing to start a brand, start something, and get views, get traction, but for it to really realize this way and have them order and make thousands of plushies is very real, and we're very excited.
Yeah, we're excited at the next step. This is going to be quite big for us if this works out. So we're putting a lot of eggs in this basket, which is important.
Yes, well, congratulations. And I'm glad you guys took the time to get it right. The other one was not right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, at some point we were like, did we just go for it? And we're like,
let's just do it.
Nah.
And then we'll sell it on Wish, and people won't be like, oh, but it's on Wish. It's fine. No one cares that it's
someone
broken.
will love him.
Yeah, but we were scared of kids beating each other with Noodle's hard eyes. So it would have been like a. Imagine you had 3 kids. You give one of them Noodle. You'll have one kid left.
Yeah.
You'll beat the other 2 to death.
The eyes are too hard. And then our other problem was the quality control on this. You're going to have many units that don't even look like this. So we were like, no, it's just too far. The defect of this is going to be like quite spectacular.
Yes, that one would be.
But anyway, they tried.
Yeah, so I'm glad a company came to you and said, let's get it right. Did you even show them that?
Yes, we did. We said, listen, we know how it can go. If you can do better than this, we're in a good space.
It's great. The bar was kind of set low.
It was set low, and then our modeler who made this is much closer. It's the best one.
Yeah, I love that you have a giant one.
Yeah, we will make a giant noodle eventually.
3 noodles.
Everyone wants one. So,
yes, I want this one.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to. Merch is gonna have to prove itself first.
Because 4-year-olds, they can like sit on it and then sleep on it, and I want to see a kid drag Noodle by the head down the hallway.
Ride Noodle. I mean, I feel like somebody would bounce on Noodle and go across scooty across the floor. Yeah. Gosh. Well, guys, congrats, Gotti, Lloyd. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you to Katie for setting this up. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's great.
Thank you so much to Lloyd and Gotti for being on the show. I love Noodle and Bun, and I can't wait to see where the series goes. And I think it's really cool that they shared us some previews of what's next. If you love Noodle and Bun like me, then go check out their merch store. I am so excited for them that they are expanding the brand, and I know that's like a dream come true. So go check it out. My pairing today with Gotti and Lloyd is the 2009 film Mary and Max. This is one of my all-time favorite films. Not only is it stop motion, but it has dark humor. And in researching it, just so I could get the year right for the episode, I didn't realize it was based on a true story. Like, that is crazy to me. It just makes the movie all that more charming. For more awesome storytellers, go check out episode 145 with Grant Colton. He is hilarious. He is a wonderful storyteller and animator with dark, twisted, weird, quirky humor that I just can't get enough of. And he's an all-around super nice guy that's become a fun friend of mine. He's helping me learn how to navigate animate, which is great. I think you always need somebody that you can send a quick email to and be like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. And he's become that for me, which is a cool part of the podcast. So go check out Grant in episode 145.